Mortgage fraud is a growing crime that hurts businesses, the economy, and you as a homeowner. Just last week, the federal government announced it has charged more than 1,200 people allegedly responsible for billions of dollars worth of scams. While the government is doing what it can to curb fraud, there are some steps you can take to avoid being a victim. Joining us now with more is Kelli Grant, senior consumer reporter for smartmoney.com. Kelli, a mortgage is a huge financial obligation, as you know, but what can people do to try to avoid becoming a victim of these scams?
The first thing to watch out for are some of the red flags that are out there for all different kinds of scams, mortgage and otherwise. If anyone cold calls you out of the blue asking you about mortgage applications or other products, avoid giving any sort of a commitment on the phone or handing off your financial information. Just ask them to mail you some of that data. And then if there's somebody that is telling you an offer is only on the table for a matter of days or hours and you really can't think about it, that's another red flag that this is a deal you should probably take a pass on.
Okay, and shop around. People should not just jump at the first thing, or if something's too good to be true, avoid that.
Exactly, and how are you going to know if something is too good to be true if you don't really know what's out there for someone with your financial background and your credit score? So really make sure you understand all of the rates that are out there, some of the fees, some of the different loan structures, and then once you find a company that you think you want to do business with, check them out, make sure they've got all the proper licensing with the state regulators, they've got a good clean record with the Better Business Bureau, basically that they've got a good reputation.
Yeah, that's what the Better Business Bureau is there for, right? They can be a huge resource in a situation like that. Also, read. So many people will say, well, I didn't read it, or I didn't see that.
Exactly. You really do need to make sure that you have read everything on your application before you sign it, and that, most importantly, that there aren't any blank passages. This is something where we are seeing a lot of mortgage fraud where, the loan officer will say, oh, I'll fill that in for you later. That's where you get some of these problems, because people are signing the paperwork, and then some of the information that's being put in after the fact gets you into a loan that either you can't afford or that you would never have signed for in the first place. So really do read it, make sure you understand it.
Because when you don't read something like that, or if you're leaving things that are blank to be filled in later, you could end up with a balloon mortgage, something that just skyrockets a couple of years in, because it can take decades to pay something off.
Exactly, and then your signature's on it, so there's not much you can do.
Not much you can do. You have to fight it, and that can be costly.
That can.
Everything else. Also, talk to an attorney.
You certainly do want to talk to an attorney on this. A few $100s as part of your application is going to be something that's going to help pay off in the long run. This is especially important for people who are looking for some assistance to avoid foreclosure. A lot of these mortgage scams have you basically signing over the title to your house to someone else, and that is something that you certainly want to avoid. So make sure you have a lawyer look over any of that paperwork.
And if you feel you can't afford one, or you don't, there are also in your local towns, and aren't there government agencies, people that can help you look over these things?
Yes, the Department of Housing and Urban Development has a list of approved counselors for people who need them.
So that's always help there. And how about an appraiser? You need to look for a good appraiser?
You really do. It's yet another form of mortgage fraud, is where the appraisal for the property that you're buying is either inflated or depressed. So you really want to make sure that you're hiring an appraiser that you trust, and one who really knows what the property values are in your particular area, and just make sure that they are doing a proper job.
Okay, is there anything you'd like to add, just for people who are looking for mortgages and looking to go into this huge investment?
I would say it's certainly not a decision to take lightly, given that a house is probably one of the biggest purchases you will ever make. So really do shop around and make sure you understand all of the paperwork and what you're signing.
Okay, thank you very much. It's Kelli Grant, senior consumer reporter for smartmoney.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.